Thank you, thank you, thank you. Christy, thank you so much. It feels so good to be home again. And I want to thank Christy and Jess and Doug for their love, their support, and their inspiration. Without it, I would not be here today. As a family, we're committed to this campaign and to this effort. You can count on that. And I want to thank all of you for being here today, and I want to thank you for all of the support that you've given us over the many years. My life changed, certainly for the better, when this community welcomed me over 30 years ago, and I will always be grateful for that. Three weeks ago, Americans courageously voted to create change. We sent a clear message that we wanted our nation led in a new, better, and different direction. But our job is not done. In fact, our work is just beginning. For today, we have in the White House a president whose first impulse is to divide and to conquer, who preys on our insecurities and fears for partisan gain, who has robbed us of the assets that have made this country great, our collective sense of community, optimism, and the can-do spirit that has built tomorrow's hopes and dreams. In this last election, we were not fooled by political tricks or gimmicks. We said in one voice, from all regions of this great country, that for us and for our children and grandchildren, tomorrow really does matter. And that is why I'm here today, to challenge all of you and all of us to bring even bolder change and greater innovation to the nation we love so much. But first, we must face facts. We live in a dangerous world, a world with real threats and real problems. Every day, our way of life is threatened by terrorism from around the world. American families today struggle every single day with the rising costs of health care and college expense. For too many, home ownership remains a fading dream. And for others, retirement security, an unfulfilled promise. In many of our cities and neighborhoods, crime represents a daily threat and danger. We also need to speak the truth about our country. Our way of life, our quality of life, our national security has been compromised and put at risk by a national government that's been fiscally irresponsible and by a country that has grown far too dependent on oil, foreign oil from foreign countries, some of which despise us, harbor terrorists, but gladly take our money. By any measure or standard, we are less safe today as a nation than we were 6 years ago. Our country needs bold leadership guided by the right values and the right experience to change America. That is why I'm here today on this college campus. For those of you who may be meeting me for the first time, let me just take a few minutes to introduce myself to you. You know, I've always been an underdog and a long shot. I've always been inspired by the stories of ordinary citizens who worked hard, overcame adversity, and succeeded. I began life in an orphanage in the hands of a stranger. I was adopted into a loving but troubled home. In my early years, my mom battled with alcohol and prescription drug addiction. My parents separated. I watched as my father struggled as a single parent trying to keep his business alive. We grew accustomed to a declining standard of living. I know what it's like I knew then, and I know today, what it's like to be alone and to feel as if you don't belong. You know, the deepest hole anyone can dig is the hole of dependency and addiction. But my mom dug herself out of that hole. She relied on her faith and her family and her friends, and in doing so, she taught me a very valuable lesson. And that is that the courage to create change can overcome the largest of obstacles, and that community can give you the confidence and the support to try and to succeed. I was fortunate. My parents got back together, and they taught me another valuable lesson, that you never give up on people, on family, on things that matter. These are values that I will always have, and these are lessons I will never forget. I've served as a mayor, a state senator, and a two-term governor. And during that period of time, I've worked hard to try to bring us together to create change. In the past 8 years, I've helped lead our state, Iowa, to successfully changing by making our farm fields into energy fields. We challenged the traditional notion of agriculture. We became the renewable fuel leader and producer in the country. It helped us to become more economically, environmentally, and energy secure. If you drive around Iowa today, you'll see that changing landscape. You'll see ethanol production facilities. You'll see biofuel production facilities. You'll see wind farms. You'll also be in a state that has the #1 air quality in the nation. But we didn't stop there. We also had the courage to change public education. Early childhood initiatives, class size reduction, raising teacher pay allowed us to improve our test scores, enabled us to retain our leadership as a leader in SAT and ACT scores, and to be the state that had the lowest dropout rate in the entire nation. But we didn't stop there. We had the courage to change government itself by reducing the size of government and also expanding access to health care, to children, to seniors, to veterans. It allowed us to be one of only 2 states last year that reduced the number of uninsured, and we now rank 2nd in the nation in insurance coverage. That is a record I am proud of. And that is why I'm here today, to help bring the same change to America. It will take leadership to create this change, but it will also take an active sense of community. Now, you know, you don't have to live behind a white picket fence to understand the power and the force of community. Some of America's strongest communities don't even have white picket fences. They don't even have yards. In these communities, there have been countless numbers of Americans who have succeeded and have made America a success story. People from all over the world have traveled to our country to begin farming our land, to build our factories, to pursue the American dream. America must always be that destination for those who pursue that dream, for those who want to work hard and take care of their families and provide a better life for their families, and for those who want to live in freedom. And that is why I'm here today, because our country needs a president who builds and creates. Our country needs a president Our country needs a president who wants to make us more secure by confronting our problems. Our country today needs a president who will lead bold change and has the courage of his convictions. And I intend to be that president. So today, in front of the family and friends that I love so much, in a community that I'm so proud to call home, I announce my candidacy to be the next President of the United States. I'm going. You can depend on that. Let us have the courage. Let us have the courage to create the bold change this country needs. Let us stop the endless partisan debates. Let us stop the empty talk. Let's have a campaign of serious thought about serious problems that our nation faces. Together, with the courage to create change, let us develop a healthcare system in our country that prevents illness with wellness, that cures diseases that some think are incurable, that allows us to live long, happy, and productive lives without the necessity of spending every single penny that we earn during a lifetime of savings and hard work. Together, let us, with courage, create the change to build and fight for a public education system that moves beyond just standardized test-taking and creates the opportunity for every youngster to be as innovative and as creative as God intended them to be. We must remain competitive. We must remain innovative. And so together, let us have the courage to create the change that builds a 21st century American economy, an economy that focuses on cutting-edge companies and technologies that lead us to energy security. Energy security will revitalize rural America. Energy security will allow us to reclaim moral leadership in the discussion of global climate change. And energy security will allow us once and for all to remove and reduce our dependency on foreign oil from foreign countries that do not like us. And together, with the courage to create change, let us embrace a new foreign policy, one that allows us to renew our friendships, strengthen our alliances, and isolate our enemies. And specifically in Iraq, we must act, and we must act now. We must take our troops out of harm's way and say to the Iraqis, it is your responsibility to protect your families and your communities. I'm running for president because I believe every American has the right to pursue the American dream. I'm running for president because I believe every American community should be part of our success. And I'm running for president because I have met people like Olivia Smith. Olivia Smith is the widow of Bruce Smith. Bruce served in our National Guard for over 20 years. He was the grandfather of our National Guard, the fellow that 19 and 20-year-old troops looked up to. He was called by his country to service in Iraq. He left his family, his wife, and 2 children. He went to Baghdad. His job was to fly helicopters. He did it bravely. On one fateful day, his helicopter was hit with a missile. As it was told to me, he had a split-second decision to make, whether to maneuver the chopper to the extent that he had any maneuverability left, in a way that might help save his life and that of his co-pilot, but could potentially put those on board at risk, or to try to save those on board. but perhaps put his own life at risk. Bruce did the thing he was trained to do. He did the thing that you would expect him to do. He put his own life at risk and that of his co-pilot. He and his co-pilot died that day. But 18 people lived that day. And I called his wife. What do you say to someone whose life has been turned upside down, who now finds themselves with the responsibility of raising 2 children by herself? I looked for the words. I talked about duty and honor and country and faith and prayers, but it just didn't seem right. This wonderful woman, this wonderful woman, she interrupted me in the middle of the conversation and she said, "Governor, I have this figured out." And I thought to myself, how noble. Just 2 days after you've learned of your husband's death, you have it figured out. She said, "Yes, I have it figured out. The way I have it figured, those 18 men needed Bruce more in that split second than I will need him the rest of my life." She understood something about this great country. She understood that we are a special place with a special mission. She understood that some are often asked to sacrifice for it. And I'm running for president because I want to make sure that people like Mrs. Smith know there is always a president in the office working every day to make sure that she and her children can reach their God-given potential. I'm running for president today to replace the anxiety that we feel today and replace it with the hope of tomorrow so that we can guarantee every single American their birthright, the right of great opportunity. It will take great courage to accept that change. It will not be easy. There will be challenges. We will be asked to do our part. I'm going to travel all over this great country of ours, to all 4 corners, and I'm going to ask you to help join me in creating that change because I believe Americans are eager to be asked. I believe Americans are ready to sacrifice and work to ensure that our country becomes the strongest and greatest nation now and forever. And so today I begin this quest. I ask for your support and your vote. I ask you to join me. Let us have the courage to create change in America so that today and tomorrow, and always, tomorrow will matter in our America. God bless our work, and God bless the United States.